mean, if we come up with the conclusion that we need better rules, and it's not just a question of going from oil to nuclear, because nuclear has risks. Everything has risks, but how do we manage risk? Who manages? Who assesses it? And it's just yet another argument that given global interdependence, we cannot deal with these situations with the present institutional structure. That is, I think, constantly the conclusion that comes from all these things. And rather than blame the President of the United States, it could be something that could be discussed at the G20 meeting. I don't know if it will be discussed. It probably won't be. It won't be, because I didn't see it on the agenda. So it should be. I think there was an article in the New York Times, you sent it to us, I think, talking about the commonalities between the financial crisis and the oil spill and something else. So it's all, the common denominator is lack of rules.
The comment about people making decisions. This is a very visible issue, right? Because it's gushing and it's dirty and you can go to the shore. Everybody in the room knows about Cox 2, right? Pfizer ended up settling Cox 2 for about $14 billion, right? The difference somebody made the decision, and he was a Canadian CEO, so we won't go into that now. But somebody made the decision to say, well, I'm not going to listen to what people are telling me in my labs. I'm not going to listen to some of the epidemiological reports that are telling me that people that are taking COX-2 inhibitors are dying of MIs, of myocardial infarctions, right? So, but that, it's a lot of money, but doesn't get the visibility. And one of the reasons I think this is going to get a lot worse is I think you can't overemphasize the visibility and just what I said, just the channeling of anger, and they become a scapegoat. One of the things I think you've got to keep an eye on is there are going to be attempts made to try to somehow block the payment of BP's dividends to U.S. shareholders, and particularly U.S. institutional shareholders. Mm-hmm. And if you can somehow sequester that money and hold that cash, which, I'm thank God I'm not a lawyer, so all of you are going to immediately tell me why I'm wrong. But at any rate, if you can somehow sequester that money and hold it towards some sort of a future fund, then I think you're really going to play havoc with what are the company's rights to distribute capital back to its investors through a dividend, through a capital payment. And anyways, it's something to keep an eye on. I wouldn't rule it out.
Thank you. Can they do that,
the board of directors?
I haven't a clue.
It is an issue of whether the Treasury Department or somebody else says, I'm not going to let the normal flow of funds. Let's say CalPERS, right? I'm sure CalPERS owns this is a safe bet. I'm sure they own BP, right? So CalPERS is, the money that would flow to their custodian would be blocked or somehow sequestered towards the payment of future. This has actually been talked about today by two senators. So
Beryl's a lawyer. Mm-hmm.
It goes to the heart of property rights in the United States. In the States it would be difficult, but you're right. In the crazy political climate where you've got to find a scapegoat, but if he does that, he also knows that the next day you've had the market going up and down because they want to know the details in FinReg, in the financial regulations. If they try this, they try putting their hands on capital after nationalizing General Motors, you'll have a market meltdown that'll make the flash crash look like crazy.
Well, I think we're going to get that anyway.
Yeah. And suddenly America's not going to look all that great.